Well, we're here at PDF 2008. We're doing a mini documentary retrospective on the PDF Personal Democracy Forum conferences over the last 4 years. And talking to some people who've been involved in the movement. I'm here with Justin Krebs of Living Liberally, Drinking Liberally, and presumably some other liberal sorts of activities.
Everything liberally, you can imagine.
And Justin, you've been involved in groups that are not official campaigns. They're supporting campaigns. They're not 527s, they're not PACs. They're awareness-raising groups, and so give us a little history on that.
Right, well, we see ourselves as the community and the social level of the progressive movement. The Drinking Liberally happy hours now meet all around the country. About a month ago, we hit all 50 states for the first time, and Drinking Liberally began right here in New York in '03. So at the first Personal Democracy Forum, we were not even a year old yet. We weren't a series of chapters. We were just our local drinking club. It's now grown into this network of Drinking Liberally happy hours, plus screening liberally films, laughing liberally comedy shows, reading liberally book clubs, eating liberally meals, all of which folds into living liberally. And one of the reasons we come back year after year is that all these other organizations are doing great work that we try to be a connective tissue to, bring the work that they do to our members in face-to-face interactions, the way that a number of these groups do it online, but give them a natural home to exist in the real world as well.
So you've been doing things that most people find to be quite difficult, is actually gathering people around a political sort of a mentality out in the real world. Everybody's struggling for that.
Well, there was a great panel earlier today on how to take online activism offline. And the answer is actually not that hard. To me, the harder part is creating that online community, creating that sense of investment and connection among people who've never met each other. And that's what so many of the organizations at PDF do so well and are figuring out the tools to really enable in a natural way. Now that said, once people are Facebook friends and follow each other's Twitter feeds and blog and comment together, they do develop a hunger to come face to face. And that's where a group like Meetup, or like the Democracy for America groups, or the Move On House parties, or Drinking Liberally steps in. It just takes the energy that's already there online and gives it a face-to-face community to connect in. And then I think turning that into activism becomes easy, because now you're getting active with your drinking buddies, with your social friends.
And there is a shtick. I mean, there has to be some kind of a hook, and you've come up with a great one. Well, you've thought about a lot of this, and we were asking people who were active in this, thinking about this on the day before the first PDF.
Sure.
Right? And at that point, you had a set of expectations, presumably. Some things you thought would be natural would crop up. How many of those have you actually seen? What are you excited about over the intervening 4 years? What's missing?
Right. Well, I think what I'm excited about is that it's still going on and going so strong and getting bigger and bigger. I'll be honest, my expectations of the first PDF were rather thin. I didn't really know many of the people in this world. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know I was going until the day before, when a friend of mine whose company was one of the sponsors said, "Hey, I have an extra ticket because no one from the company really wants to go." So that was when I had the opportunity to go. And the fact that it has grown to be such a well-regarded conference and ticket and networking event is very positive. So my sense of what I've learned here has just expanded over the years. I'll be honest, the other thing is, at first I thought Personal Democracy Forum was a lousy name. I thought it's not obvious, it doesn't roll off the tongue. I mean, here we are I didn't come up with the name Drinking Liberally, one of our fellow drinkers did, but my God, it's a name that helped sell us. Like, what does Personal Democracy Forum mean? It's a good sign of such a strong conference that it has turned that somewhat non-obvious collection of words into a really nationally known brand that we all think about and talk about and anticipate every year.
Yeah, well, work for Apple. Now, what do you see looking forward? It's 2008, it's been an amazing 4 years. What do you see going forward? And do you have any thoughts about the difference between governance and politics?
Well, what I see going forward, I think there are two big steps that this world of online activism will take. And one, in a way, you just hinted at, which is going from how do we get active in a campaign to how do we get active in government. And obviously groups like the Sunlight Foundation are already working on that and are thinking it through. And I think that you'll see all of these tools, whether it's sharing video, the ability of constituents to contribute content, you'll see that affecting governance more. I think the other element you'll see has already been happening. 4 years ago, the online world was seen as a separate medium, a separate sphere from face-to-face world. As the years have gone by, what's become clear is that the online world is not a separate world. It's one more media, the way print is, the way face-to-face is, the way telephones are. It's one more media that you can use. And that's why you see so many of the discussions now not being purely relegated to your experience on a website, but how that experience on a website connects to your telephone, connects to the people you meet. And I think that a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, Personal Democracy Forum won't be as associated with what does it mean to be online, what's the net roots. Online and net roots will be part of the political fabric in such a fully integrated way that it really will be about your personal democracy. It will be about where you engage, whether it's politics and government, whether that is with an individual or with a mass network, whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many broadcasting, and I think that that evolution's already been happening.
What's next for the liberally groups of adventures?
We're just going to keep on growing. I mean, we're at 250 plus chapters now. We want to be in 435 chapters and represent each congressional district.
Really? That's a target.
That will be a target of ours. So growth, growth, growth. We see really more of a future in screening and eating and reading liberally to grow as much as drinking liberally. And then our chapter hosts come up with all the best ideas. In recent months, we've seen crafting liberally begin, crafting circles. We've seen people going to gun ranges together for shooting liberally, for the First Amendment enthusiast ready to move on to the second. And most recently, we got an email from someone asking about starting scooping liberally, an ice cream club. So we'll see where it goes.
That'll go off the charts.
Exactly. Okay. So we're not going to be the ones who decide where it goes. Our members around the country are going to figure that out.
Terrific. Justin Krebs, thanks so much.
Great, thank you.